Hi, my name is Jack Rockwood, and I'm a producer and designer from Michigan State University. This is the pitch deck I made for our latest game, Cormac's Inferno. I was producer on this project as well as the enemy and narrative designer, and here are the great people that I worked with. To start the pitch off, I have a 30-second gameplay video that we made. This helps set the aesthetic, show off our combat mechanics, as well as the puzzle elements of our game. And the elevator pitch encapsulates this as well. But we go more into our inspirations here from games like Hollow Knight to Super Metroid. This game's about a cowboy facing off against the devil, and so we wanted this high level of challenge while still being a good entry point for players who are kind of new to the Metroidvania genre. But our commitment is to those players first and foremost. So our target audience are fans of that traditional Metroidvania style. So after the first week of production, we took our design and we made it exploratory. So we took that prototype and went into Metroidvania communities and asked them what they would want from a game like this and how we could tweak it to make it better. And that gave us a lot of ideas going forward in production. As well, we also asked casual puzzle fans what they would want coming to a game like this, a genre that they haven't played before, and how we could better facilitate that experience. With all of this, we found our target showcase in Metroidvania Fusion. By presenting this to the panel, we gave them a clear idea of our development cycle and how we plan to market the game going forward. I also developed experience goals and design pillars for this game that help keep us on track as well. We had the emotional goal of wanting players to feel spite and retribution towards the devil as they face off against them, and so we wanted this to feel like a huge challenge to overcome. We made that experience easy to get into through satisfying combat and intuitive movement, but also created a lot of depth through rewarding puzzle design that challenges players. Our core game mechanics that we got into our game in our 4-week dev cycle was the revolver combat and dodge mechanic for those high action scenarios, and then tile puzzle levels to bring that action down a bit. To connect these two parts, we have parts of the levels that players have to reach to unlock the ability to move certain rooms, and then also the ability to move certain rooms and make enemies kind of appear out of nowhere and explode the action all at once. So really bridging the slower gameplay with that faster gameplay. And that was really the solution, the key solution of this game was bridging all those genres together. We also wanted to make sure that we created a really cohesive aesthetic, and so we blended traditional hell and cowboy aesthetics and then a little bit of neo-noir into it as well. And you can see that on this slide here. We also wanted high contrast for players, as there's a lot of minute platforming that needs to happen in this game, as well as enemies that can appear out of the shadows, so players need to be able to react quickly. This is the final design that we landed on, and I worked very closely with the artist team to make sure that the narrative aligned with that, and that they could produce the best work in the short time that we had, only 4 weeks. As a big part of my role was creating documentation, not just design and narrative documentation, but production documentation, so that every member of the team knew what to work on next once they had completed something. The macro chart was a big part of that. This was our front page of our macro chart, basically detailing in vague terms everything that we wanted the game to have by the end of the summer. And all of the check boxes are what we got into the game in our short vertical slice. As you can see, it was a very effective short-term dev cycle. And then we go even more into depth with the mechanics, the enemies, and the levels. Not just what they do and how they affect the player, but the feelings that the player should experience when coming to them. A burn down chart was also a really big part of our dev cycle. We used traditional Scrum methods in this, but reworked them to better fit our needs, especially with our short time frame. We wrote down all the tasks, and then I labeled them to each member of the team and set out a timeline for them to complete it. This made it so that the dev timeline was really comfortable and no one really felt rushed, giving us that last week to just polish the game and get it ready to present. Production is my passion. I've spent the past 2 years working as a producer, and I've been lucky enough to be a producer on 4 projects, even my most recent project being asked on the team to do production work. I'm really excited to work with people and make sure they produce the best work they can. Thank you so much for your time, and I hope you consider me for this role.